नमस्कार, मैं राजीवा योगदा आश्रम Shivpuri Rishikesh, and today we are very honored to have Guru Pashupati with us, who is a very famous name in this field of yoga, and he has been trying to redefine yoga for a long time, as he has learned from very serious lineage, which he is going to explain you after this. So we are very honored to have you here, Guruji.
Thank you so much.
And as I don't know much about this lineage, it will be better if you tell our audience about you a bit.
Okay, so this is our Siddha lineage, and it starts all the way from Shankarji himself. And he taught it to Parvati ji. Parvati ji ने अगस्त्य जी को सिखाया, उन्होंने मेरे गुरु को सिखाया, और फाइनली उन्होंने मुझे सिखाया. तो my guru is Mahatar Baba. So this is a very ancient lineage. You can see that everybody's age is in thousands. Only me, I'm around 50, but everybody else is Siddha Yoga turns you immortal. And when you think that's a very far out idea, you have to think, isn't it just simply repairing faster than you damage your body? That's all. Then you become immortal. So it's a very simple thing. If you know how you damage your body and you know how you repair your body faster than damage your body, you become immortal. One of the main things to become immortal is to have a proper purpose. Because if you don't have a good, strong purpose, then you will lose your motivation to live, and then you'll start damaging your body by default, because you want to exit from this place. So this is the Siddha lineage.
So as Guruji has just explained his lineage and how Shiva has taught this to Rishi Agastya, and I have heard that all this has happened in these part of the Himalayas. So Shiva has explained, taught Agastya Muni, who has been asked to train the other students or humans then for the mankind, and today again with as they say, history repeats, the same thing is happening again in the foothills of the Himalayas. Yeah. The rains have just started 3 days back, and the monsoon. This is monsoon in the foothills and the Himalayas. So Guruji, I'll start with the very basic things for our audience. The first basic thing is, there are a lot of explanations about yoga. You know, some say union with the universe, some say union with this, union with that, and whatnot. You know. As you are expert on this, how do you see yoga as?
It's not wrong. Union is the meaning of yoga.
Okay.
But what kind of union? Symbiotic union. So you can unite with something in a way that you get something and they don't get something, right? When people want to unite with God, what does God get? Nothing.
Exactly.
Why is God invested in that? So you have to create symbiosis. If you can make a proposal to God that is so good that God says, I am with you on this, because it excites me also, then you are doing yoga. Otherwise, what you are doing is just yoga. You will want for yourself. I want moksha, I want mukti, I want this, I want that. You never thought what God wants. You never asked. This is a problem, big problem. Yeah. There's another kind of union where you become selfless and you keep giving. Like a mother gives to her children. She gives, she gets nothing back. So that is also not healthy according to yoga.
Okay.
So you have swarth, you have niswarth. Both are not yoga. But yoga is symbiosis. Neither swarth nor niswarth. Both people should be. Yoga.
Right. So the another basic question is, as I see that meditation is part of yoga, you know,
Yeah.
but somewhere people say totally different shade, you know, they say yoga and meditation, meditation and yoga. How do you explain meditation?
First of all, I would request all such people who have confusion to read Patanjali Yoga Sutra, because it is clear there that there are only 8 yogic actions. There is Yam, Niyam, there is Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, there is Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. That's it. And Patanjali starts with Samadhi. He says you should first have Samadhi, then only you can do these other actions. So the first chapter of Patanjali Yoga Sutra is called Samadhi Pada. Samadhi Pada, he has explained everything. Like how to get into the state where you have so much calm and peace, and you have an awareness of your environment, and you know where you are. So Samadhi is knowing the frame. Who am I? With whom am I? What are we doing together? Where are we? 4 questions. If you know this, you'll be in Samadhi. And this is a good place to be. So from here you have power. Samadhi is a place of power. If you find yourself powerless, you're not in Samadhi. If you find that you have power, you may or may not be in Samadhi. You might be having unbalanced power without distributing it on your environment. If you are the only powerful person and everybody else is looking to you for their power, you'll get exhausted and die. So you have to be like the Himalayas. It's a mountain range. This is a powerful mountain, another powerful mountain, another powerful mountain, all existing together. So you have to be like that. And you have to create second levels of leadership in whatever you are doing. Everybody has to be powerful. That's Samadhi. But then you can start with Yam and Niyam, where Yam is certain restrictions you put on your own internal self. Niyam is restrictions you put on your external actions. You can't behave however you want as a yogi. So you have to have 5 restrictions, which are the Yam, and then 5 restrictions. That itself is a yogic practice. And when you're able to do that, you'll be surprised. People are cooperating with you, they love you. And most people are struggling because they can't get cooperation and love from people. So you have to start doing certain things, like saying the truth, like controlling your sexual energy, not throwing it everywhere, wasting it. Brahmacharya, Satya, Brahmacharya. These are all like, Brahmacharya is a Yam, which you do with yourself. Satya is something you practice with others, you say the truth. So there are things like this where these are called yogic actions. The second yogic action is asana. Now the body has 16 places where the mind can seat itself. But most people are aware only from here. Some are aware from here, they feel I exist here. When you are, where are you? Some will say I'm here. Some will say I'm here. But there are 16 other places. Who's going to be there? So that is asana. Asana will teach you to seat yourself in these 16 other places known as adhars. If you can sit in the adhars, and you can have a consciousness from the Mula, from Buddha, from Padangushta, there is a way to be aware from here also. So that is asana. There are 4 states of consciousness. One is called Jagrut, wakeful, dreaming, Swapna, Sushupti, which is deep imagination. And then there is something called Turiya, which is like a state in which is a superconscious state where you are aware of all this. So each asana that you do for 16 adharas, 4 states of consciousness, 16 adharas will give you 64 asanas. And if you master these 64 asanas and you learn to seat yourself in various places of consciousness, then you have a great advantage, because you know how to see the full picture, the big picture, the all picture. And then we do pranayama. Pranayama is like fuel in your car. If you put fuel in your car, it can go anywhere. So pranayama is to have an unlimited supply of human energy, which is prana. And then we talk about pratyahar. In pratyahar, what you're doing is just focusing. Like you have to say no to 100 things when you say yes to one thing. Okay. And people are not very good at saying no. So they say yes to you, but in order to say yes to you, they have to say no to many other people, because you are now engaging with someone. If a girl says, I will marry you, then it means she is not going to engage. She's saying no to every other man. Exactly. Right? So she has to say more no's than yes. Every yes comes with more no's. But if you can't say that no, then you don't have pratyahara. Pratyahara is the ability to say yes to one thing. When you do that, you get dharana. Dharana is a stream of information that flows from telepathically or in some other way, electromagnetically. We start receiving it from the person with whom we have said yes to. And then there is dhyana. So you see, yoga symbiosis, at every stage other people are involved. After asana stage and pranayama stage, in the other stage there is dhyana. And in dhyana, we start to focus on one goal. Lakshya. If you don't have a lakshya, then, and lakshyas are of three types: antar lakshya, bahir lakshya, and antar bahir lakshya. So there are some lakshyas about who you should be. That is antar lakshya. Bahir lakshya is with whom should you be? What kind of people do you want in your life? That is bahir lakshya. Antar bahir lakshya is what are we doing together? So this is dhyan. Dhyan goes in three lakshyas: antar lakshya, bahir lakshya, antar bahir lakshya. And then there is samadhi. Samadhi is the thing we start with in the first place. These are the 8 yogic actions. Nobody understands it. They do whatever they want. And so many people think asana is one part of yoga, meditation is one part of yoga. Meditation is a Buddhist idea. It's not a yogic idea. You don't have anything called meditation.
True. So this was about meditation, and Guruji, one more thing which is becoming when people, I'm talking about West, right? But it's also coming in India these days that people are more and more people are getting interested in Kundalini, right? And in West, especially in US, because we get a lot of people who want to do the Kundalini, right? And in West, the Kundalini is totally different. They do it who, ha, he, who, or something like that, and that's what they call Kundalini. So for that audience, please enlighten us and everyone what Kundalini is all about, and whether it's worth awakening it, whether it is required awakening it for a human being, or you can do without that as well, right? So please enlighten us and the audience as well.
Yes. So Kundalini means Kund is a pond, like Hemkund. That's a Kund. And Leen means to be absorbed in. So Kundalini is absorbed in the pond. What is the pond? There is a pond at the bottom, which is your water element. It is lying at your pelvic floor. Our urinary bladder is there, prostate gland, women have the uterus, and all of these things are there, which are all, and kidneys. These are all loaded with water. And then there is a water which is inside also, see, interstitial fluid. So when there is some power that is loaded in that, because water is electric. Do you know that water has 4 forms? There is liquid, solid, gas, everybody knows. But there's a 4th form of water which is electric, and that is what clouds are. So when water becomes in its 4th form, it starts to have an electrical charge, and that's how lightning comes from the clouds. So in a similar way, we need to charge the water over there to get electric, and then it sends bolts of lightning up the nadis to various different places. So that is why they say it moves like a snake, because it is a very vibratory experience when these things start being shot. So that this is shooting of charged water to the charged water of the brain, to the charged water of the 5 internal organs. You know, in the south we call it Aivanga. It's the 5 internal organs, which is the kidney, the liver, what is this called, the spleen, and then the heart and the lungs. So these 5 organs are capable of taking the energy that comes from the Kundalini and storing it. So Kundalini has a pathway. So now it's in its lightning form, but then water has its different phases. So when it starts raining, we are an upside down tree. It starts raining upwards, and that rain which comes upwards then becomes a stream that flows. That time Kundalini, when it turns into its flowing form, is called Sukshma Shakti. That goes up, and when it reaches the heart, it changes into a different Shakti, which is called Apara Shakti. Then it changes into something called Parashakti around this area. And finally it reaches this place, it is called Nija Shakti. Nija has 2 meanings, yourself, Nij, and also truth. The truth about yourself can be found out when you practice Kundalini Yoga. At the end of it. So you go up, wake through various stages of awakening, and in Sukshma Shakti suddenly you will have all these perceptions of subtle things. Like you will be able to sense Wi-Fi, you will be able to sense radiation from your phone, you will be able to sense spirits, you will be able to sense gods and devtas. When you go to the temple, you will be able to sense it. So that is Sukshma Shakti. When you go a little higher, you get Apara Shakti, and Apara Shakti will help you to manifest things in the world. And Para Shakti will help you to talk to Devi herself, or God, the divine, Shiva or Devi, you'll be able to talk to them. And when you go a little further, and that's a wonderful thing because you can then invite them into any co-creation. Say, Shiva, what about this idea in the world? Don't you think this should exist in the world? And Shiva says, yeah, I love that. Let's support it, like that. And then when you go up there, you yourself realize that you're able to invite divinity into your own body to stay permanently. And then you're like, everything I do is a divine action. And you will find that it's a play. You start enjoying the game of life because now you have power. Kundalini is a real power and it has to be developed, definitely. But it is not how people would like take themselves like this.
Exactly, yes.
That's not how it's done. There are different subtle, very, very subtle kriyas that we do. And these are all secret, of course. I can't teach it on a podcast. But yeah, it's very subtle.
It's very good that people, or especially our audience, has an idea now what Kundalini is all about. And so, Guruji, to a yogi who is very, who understands very basics and who really wants to come into this, what advice you give, what you want them to start with, or to evolve a bit, so that to understand your language, I think they need to be very well prepared.
Yes.
Isn't it?
They should.
Yes. So what do you want to tell them as a preparation to start asanas, or what, or dhyana?
Let us start with some basic things. Very basic things. No asana, prana, dhyana. Start basic things. Sky, earth, water. These are basic things. And there is also sleep. These 4 things you have to take care of. You have to get enough sunlight. And in the night you shouldn't be getting sunlight, you should be getting moonlight. But in the city it's not possible. Over here definitely you can get moonlight. But in the city, it's better to light diyas at home. When I say this, people think I'm taking them back to the dark ages. But your body is from the dark ages. Your body doesn't do good in artificial light at night. So you should not expose yourself to that because it creates a lot of energetic problems for you to practice yoga. And the next thing you have to do is to drink water that is kept in the sun. Or spring water, something that is rolled down the mountain, natural stuff. You can't get it. So if you can't get natural stuff, take a glass bottle, fill it with water, keep it in the sun for 5-10 minutes. It will change into electric water, then you drink it. You'll see such a big difference in your life. Also take a little bit of salt. If you don't have blood pressure, just take a little bit of salt and then drink water, because the salt will get absorbed through your cheeks and the water will go into your cells.
Okay.
And people grow half an inch taller because they're so dehydrated. When they do this, in 10 days, my students are growing half an inch taller because their spine starts, the spinal discs start getting hydrated. And so many problems go away. Constipation goes away, the heel cracks go away, dry skin goes away, snoring goes away, all sorts of things which are caused by dehydration, including eczema and so many other problems will just go away when you start drinking the right kind of water and hydrating yourself. We think that we need 2.5 to 3 liters a day. But the Wi-Fi and the computer that you're exposing yourself to, the artificial light from the computer, is taking water away from your body. It's microwaves. Everything is microwaving you with this Bluetooth this and Bluetooth that. So we get microwaved, and if we don't drink enough water, you know how things become in the microwave. They become desiccated. When people have hanging skin, they have also the problem, hair loss, all sorts of things happen because of water. And then the next one is ground. We need electrons from the ground. Everything in our body runs on electrons. We are told it runs on glucose as the main fuel. Then they say it converts the glucose to ATP molecules, which then power all of the cells. This is the biochemical part. The biophysical part is that everything is electrons. Finally, in the mitochondria, there's an electron transfer chain, which then produces your ATP molecule. So if you don't have enough electrons, you will get old. And you won't have the youthfulness and the strength required for yoga. So you can see yoga is a very physical practice, and if you don't practice yoga, you will slowly lose your youthfulness because you get dehydrated. Dehydration is aging. So to stop yourself from dehydrating. And once you've got this under control, so you need at least 5 liters of water If you are in an urban environment, yes. Over here you'll probably need just 3. But if you are in an urban environment, you will need 5 liters of water per day. And people are like, I can't go to the loo so many times. You won't go to the loo so many times. Your body will use that water because you're losing it. And so that's something to take care of. And then make sure that you walk with bare feet on the bare earth. Whether it is grass, stones, river, sea, whatever, beach. You have to, if you don't want to walk, you sit at least. Put your feet on the ground and sit. You'll be surprised. So many of my students enjoy themselves doing some stupid stuff. Okay? Playing tennis, playing something, athletes, many athletes, cricketers. I have a student who is now going to become get into the IPL because he's really proved himself. And I have another student who is already on the USA cricket team. I have basketball players, volleyball players, so many famous national level players are there as my students. And when I started telling them about this grounding thing, they get an injury. Somebody had a big swollen hand. I told him, go and put it on that. Put it on a tree. Sit with this on a tree. Why trees are the biggest source of electrons? You draw electrons and then give it in your hand. Just put your hand on a tree. Half an hour, 3 days, problem solved. Doctor surprised how you got back so fast. Okay? Another person, big bloating. Eats anything, big bloating. I said, you need sunlight. Because sunlight does a lot of things. I said, you go, open your belly, lie down on your terrace for half an hour every day. He lives in Dubai. So it's really hot. I said, I don't care. Go expose yourself. Try and get half an hour in. You drink a lot of water, but expose yourself. He comes back and sends me a photo. His stomach is flat. All the protein gone. Earlier it was like a balloon. He was like, Guruji, I got deflated by the sun. I'm going to do this every day. I said, this was medicine. Every day you do 10 minutes. Because it's Dubai sun. But if it's Uttarakhand sun, you can sit for hours outside.
Yeah, in winters you can sit for hours.
Yeah, totally. So get the most sun that you can possibly get in your locality. And that is really, slowly if you increase, you build some big level of melanin. Melanin is why I'm so dark. And that melanin makes you glow in the sun. And it absorbs a lot of sunlight. People are scared to get dark. But when you get dark is when you glow. Because you can see that person is like really what we call tejas in their face. Because they are exposing themselves to the sun. So let's start with these basics. Sun, earth, water, and sleep. And sleep will happen automatically. When you don't get light in your eyes after sunset, you will fall asleep a few hours after sunset. Automatically. And you'll get up. And people who have years of sleep problem can fix themselves with this. Now begins yoga, says Patanjali. After this. Prepare your body and then only you can do yoga. It's not for everybody.
So this is part of preparing yourself, your body with sun,
and
water.
mind also, you know, people with depression, anxiety, just get in the sun. I cancelled one guy's suicide. He said, Guruji, I've been watching your videos. Here on the roof, I want to jump off. Before I jump off, I just wanted to thank you. I'm thinking, what kind of call am I getting, you know? And I'm like, listen man, you're already on the roof. So you just stay there for some time, keep talking to me. Take off your shirt. So he took off his shirt, he's exposing himself to the sun. I just was talking this and that with him. He was saying his sad story. And then I said, how do you feel about killing yourself? I don't feel like jumping. I'm like, why? And then I told him, you jump now. Why? You were talking to me so much, you should be committed at all. He said, no Guruji, I'm not getting a feeling. I feel that after talking to you, I can do something in life. I said, it's not me, it's the sun. Because you heard these same things from your parents, you heard the same things from your friends, but you couldn't take action. Now you have the sun, that's the thing. Go out every day to the roof, open your shirt and sit. The guy is religiously sitting there. He was a drug dealer, he stopped dealing drugs. He got out of the mafia and now he's like in a really good place. He started doing honest work and he's going to teach yoga soon. We can make these transformations in people just with sun, earth, water, sleep. 4 things. Easy to do.
So this was Guru Pashupati on yoga, meditation, and I must tell you that Guru Pashupati has taught millions of students, is that right?
Millions of students. I've taught the Indian Army, I've taught the Marcos, Marine Commandos. We eliminated a lot of violence in the Sri Lankan community, and we've been, and the total number of students I've trained maybe over 10 million. No, wait, it's much more than that. It's close to 21 million students that I've trained over the past 20 years.
Very good. So for young people, this is such a special podcast with such a wise, or you can say wisdom. Young people have a greater chance to practice all these things and prepare so that they can do something better in their life, and even all those who are a bit little older, they can practice all these basic things to make their life better, healthy. I presume health is something.
Health is time.
Health is time. Yes.
If you
tell us something about health.
People who
good
get
health.
Good health. Yeah, good health is what gives you time. You see, things move in cycles. If there's something going up, you can be sure that it will be balanced by something going down. In your life, it is a sine wave. It is a snake. Okay? So when you don't have health, you get broken by the down times. And it just takes a big toll on you because you don't have energy. When you don't have energy, you're running out of time. Every time you get sicker, the number of years you have left on earth reduces. So when you have good health, you have infinite time. When you have infinite time, you can wait for all the cycles. Like you stand in the ocean and you've seen these ocean surfers, right? How they surf on the wave. It's timing. Everything is timing. But the ability to wait in that ocean requires time. Because it'll be slapping you, there'll be a lot of things. This is the ocean of this samsara. So, it's the ocean of the world. So we have to be really in good health, waiting for the next wave. When it comes, we'll surf on it. Then we're back in the water. It's a lull time. You've got to maintain yourself. So that it's health what allows you to maintain yourself. Everybody can feel great when things are going great. When things go down, that's when you need a lot of help. So you can handle everything. One person has to keep their head. Everybody loses their head, then there's a problem. You should be that one person. That's the yogi. When Maharana Pratap was losing his head, a Giri yogi went to him. And he said, let's fix your problems. He taught him yoga, meditation, made him alright. And there's a shrine to him inside the biggest palace in India, which is the Udaipur Palace. And Maharana Pratap was then able to lift swords that were 60 kilos. And that's how he cut Balwal Khan in half. The strength of yoga. My car went into a ditch and in Pondicherry. And you know how this is a drainage and that wheel is stuck like this. You can't reverse it, you can't do anything. People came to advise me like, can't you drive properly, old man? And I was like, can you drive? He said, yes. He said, get in, put the car in reverse and start pulling. And I told the other guy, come and help me lift this. He's like, we can't lift this, we need to get a crane. I said, no, we'll lift it. And then I lifted the car and it came out. And the guy took it out and he's amazed. And I said, now you get out of the car. I got in and went, So this is the strength of a yogi. So really, when a yogi comes into your life and he's got your back, nothing can happen to you. That's how it is. All of the great, you know that Uttar Pradesh there was Yogi Adityanath. So there were a lot of good developments when he was there, especially for us yogis also.
I just wanted to add here that my father has taught 3 generations of Rishikesh, and he has also taught Yogi Adityanath.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wonderful.
Yes. So Yogi Adityanath was student of my father.
I pronounced your father.
Yes, he's somewhere up
wherever
there.
He is.
Yes, and he commands a very good respect in this town. That is also a kind of yoga when you live a very disciplined life.
Absolutely. It's not necessary that a yogi has to dress like me or you.
Yeah.
It is all about how you behave.
Exactly. How do you live, behave, and all that.
You need to care about others.
Yeah. So every day he used to teach me a lesson, which I miss these days, but very good. So you are here. So universe willing, we'll have another podcast sometime, and which will be on a higher things. So till that time, you can practice all these what Guru Pashupati has given us, the wisdom He has given us.
Nothing would make me more happy
Yes.
if people got healthy and people got purpose and people cooperated with each other. That would really make my day.
Exactly. So we all have to, with yoga, we all have to make this world a better place to live, right? A healthy and wealthy place where we just drop our ego. I always tell in my classes that yoga is all about melting down every day and becoming new. So you melt down every day, become a good person, become a good neighbor, become a good student, become a good teacher. So last but not the least, you want to say anything about Yogada and our place?
If you come to Yogada, you will be in the heart of yoga. That's all I can say, because I was sitting here, and it's not only Rajiv Baji, it's also everybody here. Because I was talking to Dalit ji in the morning, and he was telling me, how he understands yoga.
New version.
Like, he said they used to put on the goats, they used to put that iron horseshoe on a goat and then send it out in the mountains, hoping that it will touch a parasmani and turn into gold. And that is how certain villages became extremely rich, by getting the gold like that. And he felt that yogis are like that parasmani. You just have to run into one and you'll turn into gold. So everybody's got a great perspective here on yoga. You can see that each of the staff is loving their job. They have been treated very well, and the pool is maintained amazingly well, and everything is great. So I think
and the Ganga, which is
Ganga
I can
flowing
show
right
the camera,
was mind blowing today.
To them. The Ganga is flowing right next to the ashram.
When he took me there today, I was mind blown. I
Uh-huh.
found a stone that is exactly like a shivling, very beautiful, and I could do its puja there. I collected some of the sand, which is purple sand. And it is like paradise to be in the arms of the Ganga. I can't explain it. And this is the place where, after Devprayag, it turns into Ganga from here. It's the first city,
Yes.
first place.
First place, exactly.
Yeah. So it was beautiful. The energy is simply, I don't feel like leaving, to be honest. But I have to go.
Stay forever. If not, then keep coming. Yes. So that was Guru Pashupati, and we'll catch you soon. मैं Rajiba from Yogda Ashram, Rishikesh. Thank you very much. Take very good care of yourself.